Hello, and you're very welcome to a special edition of Treaty Talk ahead of the Bonscore Hospital Limerick Senior Hurling Championship Final meeting, of course, of Piarsaigh and Patrickswell. And I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Mike Casey of Piarsaigh. Just a reminder that all GA coverage on Sporting Limerick is sponsored by Noel's, and do check out Noel's for all the latest offer in menswear in both Limerick City and County. First of all, Mike, how are things? Good evening to you.
Thanks a million. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Mike, you were just telling me there before we started, you've wrapped up a training session. When we're speaking now, it's a week out. How's things building up in the Cardiff area and in the Piarsaigh club?
Yeah, look, people are starting to get excited. It's not too long ago where we were only playing our first county final, So yeah, people are getting excited. Lads are getting the work done. The boys, are really looking forward to what's going to be a huge test on the day.
Yeah, you mentioned the first county final. I think it was 2009. I know you're too young to play yourself, but I'm sure you were there on the day. A proud day for the club, despite the result. But I suppose you must pinch yourselves at times to realise that was your first, and that you've been in so many since. It seemed a long way off at some point, I'm sure, in the Piarsaigh's history, but now it just seems like commonplace to be trotting up to the Gaelic grounds on county final day.
Yeah, look, as you said there, 2009 was an occasion, one that a lot of lads don't look back on too fondly. I think it was at 3 points. I think Kevin Down scored all three on the day. I don't think we had any from play. So yeah, that's not too long ago. So yeah, we're delighted as a club, and it's a testament to the work that was done kind of underage and is still being continued to be done underage. You always have to have that conveyor belt coming. So yeah, we're really looking forward to this year's, no more than last year's or anything gone before. We have a job to do, and we'll set out our targets and we'll go from there next weekend.
Yeah, like you mentioned the work that goes on there. The lazy analysis of Piarsaigh will be that you have a lot of numbers and you have a big catchment area and all that, but work needs to be done to knit that together, because I recall myself playing underage against Piarsaigh, and not to say Piarsaigh have a fear factor at all ages now, but there was certainly Piarsaigh were treated the same as any other club until maybe they got the breakthrough, and now they're probably looked upon as a powerhouse of Limerick hurling. But if you go back to your own early days as under 12s, under 14s, I don't think anyone would have feared Piarsaigh, and that's not nothing against your teams, but that's just maybe the way Piarsaigh were perceived, and it's taken a lot to change that in the last, as we said, 2009, last 14 or 15 seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Like numbers aren't going to win you anything, So it's all about the quality of coaching, the quality of kids you have in front of you. Yeah, numbers are obviously going to play a bit of a part in it, but we've to deal with an awful lot of other sports around Limerick City, between your soccer, your rugby, all that too. So no, there's huge work that goes into the underage. There's a lot of the senior lads have been involved throughout the years. I myself was involved only a couple of years ago with a team that won a county final under 15. We won the county final again, backed it up then this year under 15. So and Carl King, Groth Sinnott, William Hend, they were all involved in that side. So it's no, there's a huge bit of work that needs to be done there. You can never kind of rest on your laurels. You always have to keep looking forward and looking ahead to kind of the next phase and the next group, and who's going to back you up, like who's going to take my jersey in a couple of years' time. You have to always plan for the future, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself slipping off where you are, and the days of the county finals going up to the Gaelic grounds, they can be really, really hard get, and it goes into an awful lot of work.
You mentioned Carl King. I saw him posting on social media how proud he was. I think can't remember the grade a few weeks ago. Was it maybe 15s or 17s? They won, and he was involved. But how does that culture come about that players, I think in some clubs, players, maybe say we're very busy playing and all the rest of it, and they maybe don't get involved until they've retired. But it's been a common trait of Piarsaigh to have the likes of yourself. I know Peter, I think, was involved in the team. You mentioned 2 or 3 names there. Guys giving back while they're still playing. You're still 2-3 nights a week involved with your own team, but guys getting into the thick of it early in your playing career, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a club, more so than anything else, and lads just love giving a hand at the club, and messages can go into WhatsApp, lads get involved in this team or that team, and see where it goes. I think we were in a very fortunate position when we were younger. We had some brilliant people involved with us, and that love for the club has never gone, you know. So, you know, for us, there's no underage team kind of left understaffed, you know, where everyone's mad keen to get involved, whether it's one night a week, one night every 2 weeks, you know, just giving, you know, parents hands at under sixes, you know, that sort of way. Like, so it's definitely something that as a group we're very conscious of, that, like, you know, it's the old kind of All Black saying there at the moment, you know, you're only renting the jersey, like, you know, that has to be passed on to someone at some time, and you want to make sure that it's passed on to the right people and that's going to a better place, you know.
And how is the tolerance of the lads with the 6 and 7-year-olds? I'd say it can be tricky at times.
Yeah, draw right. I stay away from the 6 and 7-year-olds myself now. But yeah, look, the lads love it. You know, they love giving a hand. They love coaching lads how to roll lift the ball, jab lift the ball, hold the hurley correctly. Like, some lads, you know, really enjoy that. So yeah, it's definitely a community spirit down there, and something that, you know, we pride ourselves on.
You mentioned community spirit. One club that certainly has that is Patrickswell. Your opponents, they're into their 30th county final. Their team, though, that you've met now, this will be the third final, I suppose, in recent history, the third final ever between the two clubs, a victory each. So it's nicely poised that, you know, maybe 2 out of 3 for the time being anyway. Obviously, there's possibility of more down the line, but you've been well matched in those finals. I think you got over in, is it 2015 by a point, and then I think it was only 2 points for them in 2019. So, you know, no matter the form book, or maybe how people are saying that one team is a good bit ahead of the other coming into it, it's a final, and you seem to be well matched on the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime we play Patrickswell, you know, it's always an unbelievable game. It's incredibly physical, high skill levels. You know, some real quality players playing, and that's been the same since, you know, you go back to 2015. Don't even all you have to look at there is the last time we played in the group stages. You know, they turned us over by a point. So yeah, it's going to be a great game. It's going to have massive intensity to it, and, you know, both sides have huge respect for each other. Leave everything out there, and I think the respect that we have for each other means that, you know, you're not going to hold back at all. You know, a lot of us have played together a long time with Piarsaigh and John, and with Limerick, John. That just kind of adds a bit of spice to the actual fixture, you know.
Yeah, and one man, of course, Piarsaigh and Limerick, and obviously up against you is the other captain, Aaron Gillan. That promises to be one of a handful of, I suppose, direct battles that we'll be seeing. And I suppose it's the most difficult task in the country at the moment, is it, trying to mark a player like Aaron. He's really in a rich vein of form, and you'll have your work cut out, I'm sure, on Saturday evening.
Yeah, look, I know what's coming, and everyone knows what's coming. You know, it's an incredibly hard task, and one that, yeah, we're definitely registering as a group. You know, it's never really one man on one man. You know, at times it's a group. It's a back 6 there with us. It's a back 8. You know, everyone making sure that they're getting their job done, and try and cut off the supply of ball. You know, that sort of a thing. Like, but yeah, it's definitely something that we've marked each other an awful lot over the last couple of years, so we know each other's games very well, and something that we're definitely looking. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to. You know.
Yeah, one man that's back in your corner this year is Shane O'Neill. He was obviously involved in some of the really good days a couple of years ago. He obviously went to Galway and is now back in amongst things. Has he approached things a little bit differently? Has he tried to freshen it up compared to when he was there last?
Yeah, like Shane has evolved an awful lot since the first time, as well as the game has evolved an awful lot. Like, you know, it's gone very, I would say, tactical now and things like that. Whereas before it was, you know, go out, work as hard as you can, and now a lot of that is still the same. Like, you know, but yeah, Shane has added a good bit of freshness again to the side. You know, he's really let the players drive it on, and you know, I think the lads have really stood up to the test so far, and yeah, he's been brilliant since coming back.
And I know one of the changes he made, I suppose, effectively immediately in terms of championship hurling anyway, is Shane Downing in goals. Obviously, you played outfield with Shane, and a great servant to both his club and county when fitness allowed. What's it like having him behind you? You know, I suppose he looks some bit natural in goals at times, but other times maybe people might say, oh, he's only an outfielder in goals. But what's it like having him directly behind you at times?
Yeah, we have a very good relationship. You know, we talk an awful lot throughout the game. So he's got an excellent brain for it, and he's kind of like a second coach behind you. You know, he's trying to read the game, and he's got that time now to be able to read the game, plan what's going on in front of us. You know, and he can give vital pieces of information throughout the game. You know, he's worked really hard to get back to where he's gotten to. He threw the towel in, not threw the towel in, but he had to throw the towel in with Limerick, back in 2019, and he's worked really, really hard. Unfortunately can't play out the field anymore. But like still gets that buzz from being in the goal, and there was a lot of proud men in the Piarsaigh seeing him do what he did last time, with the penalties, saving them and scoring them, so that definitely gives him a serious lift and a serious buzz, and something that you could never begrudge him, for what he's gone through.
Yeah, he saved 4 penalties, of course, of the 7, which is remarkable. You weren't one of the 5 selected, or I don't know how you put your hand up. It's not something that, if I was thinking about it after, and players, if they go through their whole career without taking one, because there might be a free taker within your own age group or whatever that might be the man to take it. But it's not something that guys are overly used to. Obviously, Shane has taken many down the year, and maybe Kevin has taken a few, but if you start to go down the list, maybe guys are not used to that scenario. So what were you thinking when you were standing, arm in arm with the rest of you guys? How did you feel as the penalties were being struck?
Yeah, like, it's not a nice way to do it, and I understand why it has to be done. But as you said there, like, a lot of those lads had never taken a penalty before, we were actually fortunate enough this year. We beat Patrickswell in a penalty shootout in a league game. I don't know, it was this year or last year. So a few lads had kind of experienced something like that prior, but for all the penalties to be, a lot of the penalties to be saved as well, like, it just shows the nerves that were there, and people had never hit penalties before. It was the first thing I said to Johnny Murphy. I said, is it rotating around the 5, or does it cut down the line? And he told me, no, it rotates around. So I knew the pressure was off then, that I couldn't hit a penalty, So yeah, look, it's unreal probably for the neutral. It's horrific for the players, and for a lot of lads. 8-9 months work came down to 5 lads, standing in front of a ball, like, trying to score a penalty, which is tough, like,
Yeah, I suppose there's no good way or to lose a semi-final, as Doon have found out. But I suppose you mentioned there scoring. It was only 7 of the 14 scored, which is remarkable when you think how many of them maybe in open play would find the back of the net, given it's 1-on-1 these days. But that'll tell you the pressure. Yeah, but I suppose what it does is it brings you back to another county final, and preparation for the final. Just in comparison maybe to your time with Limerick, obviously you're only a stone's throw from the Gaelic grounds, but how will you as an individual, if there's any youngsters listening to watching this, how would you approach a big game like that? It's at 5 o'clock in the evening, it's obviously only down the road, but how will you prep your day, if you can let us in a small bit on that?
Yeah, like, for me, routine is key. We've learned that over the years, especially with a couple of the bigger games we've played, that we used to play the game, not the occasion. Your routine should stay the same, and that just keeps the trigger in your mind that this is just like a training session. It's just like a normal AVV that you could be playing. So, like, you'll get up at the same time, have your same meals, do maybe the same thing the day before, the Friday, that I'd have done with, say, this Friday. So yeah, it's just to try and keep yourself in check, make sure you're not overthinking things, and make sure that it's just a game at the end of the day. It's a game of hurling. There's no extra added pressure to it. Like, if you start thinking like that, you're definitely not going to perform. So you have to definitely play the game, not the occasion. But yeah, like, routine for an awful lot of us would be something that we'd rely on, that we get that routine ready and right kind of the day before. And even like at an evening game there, you might meet a couple of lads there for an old cup of coffee or something there, maybe 10, 11 o'clock, just to pass a couple of hours, because that can be the hardest part, passing the few hours. The game that's on at 5, half 5,
Yeah, you wouldn't go out doing any hard labour or heavy lifting, would you? The morning of a game, it can really. I think I heard James Skehill during the year talking about that. I think he said the day before the All Ireland final, he was out foot and turf, but not ideal preparation, I'm sure, for a big game. But if we can look at the game itself, obviously I mentioned yourself and Aaron, but this Patrickswell team obviously has 3 of your intercounty teammates, and I'm sure plenty more that you've crossed paths with through school and maybe underage grades with Limerick. They're obviously an impressive team. I think maybe many people would have predicted yourselves in Kilmallock at the start of the year, but I think it just shows the desire and the hunger in Patrickswell that they don't take no for answer, and even did a couple of setbacks in the group, but they managed to come out and beat Ballybrown in the quarter final, and then obviously go on and put in a great performance against Kilmallock.
Yeah, look, absolutely. They've got probably 3 of the top 5 hurlers in the country at the moment. There's probably going to be a third hurler of the year potentially in amongst them. So they've got star quality around the field that are going to definitely take looking after. They've plodded their way nicely throughout the championship. Had probably their best performance last year against, as you said, maybe a fancied Kilmallock side. So they're going about their business really, really well and effectively. So we definitely know what's coming, and we know the battle and the challenge that's coming on Saturday.
Yeah, and finally, just ask you about the captaincy. And look, maybe it doesn't mean an awful lot to you in one regard, and because there's maybe not an awful lot to it compared to other sports. But to be picked as captain of your club, I know William has great pride in lifting the cup there in the last couple of years as captain. When were you told, and what did you feel when you were selected?
Yeah, I suppose Shane O'Neill, pulled me aside. I met him for a bit of lunch there at the start of the year when he got involved, and asked me would I like to be captain. And your sense of, as you said, William there, you took huge pride, and your family that you're representing the club, and you're picked as captain of the club, which is an incredible honour and one which you can't turn down. It's an incredible honour to go and be the captain of the club that you were at since you were 4 years of age, and something that I'll forever be grateful for Shane and for asking me to do it. And at the end of the day, you're the same as you were last year. You just have to collect the cup and maybe say a few words, but it's definitely something that I take great pride in, and because we've been a community down there for so long, and you've been there since you were 4 years of age, to be, I remember looking up at Kieran Birmingham lifting our first cup, and I still remember his speech, and he's saying the famine was over, and and I remember Carl Keane collecting it, and under the Hogan stand, and it's collecting All Ireland under the Hogan stand, so it's something that you dreamed about throughout the years, and it's definitely something I take great pride in.
Very, very finally on that, but in the dressing room, so how are you in the dressing room in general, and maybe even with Limerick, or maybe more so with the Piarsaigh is where I'm aiming this. Do you speak to the younger guys? Do you speak to anyone, or are you just very single-minded as you're, maybe those last few minutes before you head out, or is it just a case of listening to the mentors and the coaches you have involved?
Look, you're everyone is different. The way people lead is different. Some people lead by actions on the field. Some people do an awful lot of talking. So, you try and do a mixture of both. You always have to lead on the field. That's your number one. If you're not leading on the field, people aren't going to listen to you off the field. So, we've had a lot of younger lads come into the team this year. We were hit with obviously a large number of injuries at the start of the year who were ruled out for the year. So we had 3 or 4 debutants start that first game against Patrickswell. So you definitely have to put an arm around them and talk them through their first couple of games. They've been incredible for us now, and they've really hit the ground running this championship and done huge jobs for us. But it's just about making sure everyone is in the right frame of mind to go about doing what they need to do.
Very good. Thanks a million, Mike, for joining us. And a reminder that every GA bit of coverage on Sporting Limerick is sponsored by Noel's Menswear. Do check them out.